All right, let's understand how programs now work on MPC 3. First of all, let's have a look here at MPC 2.0. Of course, this is the view that we know: sequences, tracks, programs. Okay, we can create on this MPC, we can create as many programs as we like straight from here, and we can associate a program to a track. We can go to any track and say that this program is now linked to that track, and so on. You can go to any sequence, and the programs will always be there. They'll always be available for you to choose what program you want for which track, whatever track you want to use. So here, programs, they're independent from the tracks. You can literally just use them on multiple tracks. I can say that track 24 will have the same program, and so on. A program can literally be created separately from the track, and it can be used on multiple tracks or just one track, and that's how it works on this MPC. Of course, you can load up programs as well. You can go. Let me go here into my my programs. Yes, I've been sharing programs since 2017 on my Patreon. I create programs and share programs to Patreon for many years now. So that is my workflow for a long time now. And if you guys want programs for the MPC, just go into my Patreon and you'll see a bunch of folders like this with programs in there. This is a program. Obviously, we can see all the samples right here. I got my samples right there. And of course, I have also the program. So I can load this program straight in. The MPC is gonna load it. So I'm just going through the MPC 2.0 so we understand this workflow first before we go into the MPC 3. Now the program is right there, okay? And we got all the other programs that we created right there along with this. I can say that track number 10 will have this program or another program. I can duplicate this program as well. Okay, so that's like the behavior of the MPC before MPC 3. So let's go into MPC 3. I'm just going to jump out of controller mode. Let's go into standalone. Okay, here we go. User template. I got my user template. It works just the same, especially for my Q links here that I have different things assigned to my Q links. So this now is the view. Of course, we still have the sequences. We still have the tracks. But now the program that was right down here is not there anymore, which means you cannot create a program, okay? You can create a program, but you create programs by creating a track, because programs are now right there and the track is right there, okay? So it's telling me that this is a drum track, and you associate drum programs to the track. But the difference right now is that they're linked. They're connected right now. You cannot swap the program. This section where you could create programs is gone, okay? And that doesn't mean that you cannot create programs. You can still create programs, but how do you create a program? You actually create a track. So right now, because a program needs to be associated to a track, if you want to create a new program, you create essentially a track, a drum track right there. So now it created a new track. That's track number 3. How many tracks do we have right now? We got an audio track, we got a program right there, and we got a drum 2 right there. These are our programs. Okay, if we go into the main menu project, we can see that we have program 1, audio track, drum 2. That's the one we just created. So that's how you create a program. And you can create as many programs as you like, but what essentially you're doing is you're creating a new track, which is a drum track, okay? Because from 3.0 forward, tracks are connected to programs. You cannot swap a track inside, you cannot swap a program inside of a track anymore, okay? That's the drum track. If we tap that, you'll see that we have our tracks that we had before: key group, programs, plugins, MIDI, CV, and audio. MIDI clips, clip programs are not here as of now. I don't know what's going to happen to that. I cannot answer that question. I just don't know. But this is what we have. Now check this. We have drum 2 right there. If we change this track to another type of track, it will delete the program. So if you pick a key group, now track number 3 is a key group, but drum 2 is gone, okay? So let's go here into the menu, let's go into the project. See, where we had drum 2 is now a key group. Now, let's do another thing. Let's go to program 1, let's go to main, and let's go to program 1. So this is a drum track, as you see right there, and it's linked to this program. I shouldn't say linked, they're essentially the same. And we're going to load up some samples. So some people say, how do loading up samples work? Same as before. You can either go through this shortcut, tap a pad that you want to load a sample to, and just go hit browse. And then you got to search for the sample. Let's go here, maybe go there. Let's just go in here, roads. Let's load that up in there. So it works just the same as before. You can tap a pad, load a sample. Okay, these samples are also on my Patreon. If not these exact ones, others will be there, road samples and all of that. Right now we can load it like this, of course, and this is program 1. Now what happens, because if I go here to menu, project, right, and I got my program right there, I got my samples that are associated to this program. Key group has no sample in there. Audio has no audio in there. Just my program, right? If I go to my main screen and I do the same thing, I swap this track for another track. Okay, let's say I want a MIDI track right there, okay? So what happened is that it deleted the program that was in there, okay? Basically what it did is just deleted the track, and that's how we should look at it. It's a track right now. So let's go into the menu, let's go into the project, and then we can now see that we have that MIDI that was a program before, a drum program before, now it's a MIDI track. And it automatically deletes the track that's in there. If we go to all samples, samples are still there, okay? So this is good to know. It deleted the program, but it didn't delete the samples. Now let's go and do another test right here. I'm going to go and create a new track. I want a drum program. Once you create a drum program, it creates a new track. It's essentially the same thing. I keep talking like they were separate, but they're the same. I create a track, it's a drum track, which means it's a drum program. Okay, they're the same thing. So go here to the tracks, we have our MIDI, we have our audio, our key group, and our drum program. Okay, let's browse now. Instead of going for sample, let's browse for programs. I want to load an entire program. Okay, let's go. Browse, okay? Let's go here to my crops. Again, I got a bunch of these on my Patreon. I have been sharing these for years now. I have been using this type of workflow for years now, just chopping a lot of stuff and then uploading it to Patreon. This is nothing new, as some people might point out on YouTube. I got samples from 2018. I'm just going to go here and let me search for something. Got some Sade. That is the program right there, okay? I'm going to load the program. Now we have an option right here. If we load this, it will replace what's this program, which is the drum 1 program, okay? If we go to menu, project, you see that that's the program right there, drum 1, okay? And if we load, let's go to browse. If we load this program, it will replace the program that was in there, okay? So or we can load it to a new track. And I want to do that. Instead of replacing that program, I want to load this to a new track. So what it does, it creates a new track with this program, okay? So load to new track. It's going to load all the samples, and now it's 5, right? It's track number 5. If I go down, we still have that drum 1, right? So we loaded this right here. If we go into the menu project, we can see all our tracks that we created so far, and Sade is right there with all the samples in there. So right now we have, if we go and see all the samples, Let's just go and see that we have, these samples are all from this program, but we still have those other two that we loaded at the beginning, right? Because those ones weren't deleted. Now let's have a look at something. So I'm on track number 5. Let's say I'm not going to use this program. I'm going to go into the browser and load something new. So let me see what I want to load. Let me have a look here at, so I like these samples. Let's say I want to load this program. There's the program right there. And instead of loading it to a new track, I want to replace the samples that are on this track. So I'm going to go into the browser and just hit load. I'll load it up. Okay. And now you got that program in track number 5. And let's have a look. Let's go into the menu. Let's go into the project. Okay. The Sade is gone. The track is not here anymore. But let's have a look and see that all the samples from the Sade are gone as well. Okay, so once you load up a drum program, it will replace all the samples within the previous program that was in the track. If you don't want to do that, you simply just load to a new track and you keep the other samples in there, okay? Okay, so let's say I want to use this program on another track. What you do is that you duplicate that program. So you just hit that icon right there and it duplicates. So now we have the same program, which is a copy. It's not the same program, it's a copy. It's the same thing that we did previously when we duplicate a program. That's what's happening here. So right now we have 2 programs with the same samples. It's a copy of one another. If we go to the menu, go to the project, we can see that we have this and we have that one. They're 2 separate programs, although they are copies. If I add some effects to this program, it will not be affected on this program because they are essentially separate programs, because they are on separate tracks. And that's one of the things about this MPC3 is that you will never have the same program on different tracks. That is gone. So the interaction between tracks right now is essentially gone because you'll never have the same program on multiple tracks. You can still duplicate it, and that can be a way to work. I'm going to browse for some other samples. So let's load this, Charles Mingus. And I'm going to load, that's the name of the program. Load it. And I loaded it straight into that track that was a copy. Okay, so it's loading all these samples to track 6. So if you go here to the menu project, so it erased the program and it replaced it with the new program. Same thing that we did before. Did it delete the samples? It didn't delete the samples because they are still associated to this. A copy of a program is just a copy of the parameters and not a copy of the samples. If these samples are still being used on some program, it will not delete the samples. It will just delete the existing program with all the parameters. And let's go into the program edit, actually. If you guys are worried about that the drum program is gone, everything works the same. Chopping a sample works the same. We still have pad parameters, all, which is non-destructive. We still have everything the same inside of the drum program. Everything still works the same. Just the ability of creating programs from the main screen and then loading samples into it, that is gone. You can still load programs the same way we did before into new tracks or to existing tracks. Just keep in mind that if you load a drum program into an existing track that is a drum track, it will replace the program and it will delete the samples of that program at the same time. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. But the workflow is essentially the same. You load programs, you play with your samples, and you record them into the grid, and everything is pretty much the same. Everything is the same with the exception that now the program and the track are linked together. They are just one. They're not separate anymore. On the previous MPC, it would be a separate thing. You could create programs and associate programs to each individual track. Here is not the case, okay? But it doesn't mean that the workflow has changed. Yes, there are a few things that you will not be able to do because, you know, having the same program on multiple tracks meant that you could interact between the tracks via polyphony or effects or anything that that program had built into it. It would be the same for all the other tracks. So we can change tracks positions around. That's really useful. If you want to start from like an empty program, you can do that. You just create a drum program, and now the program is essentially fresh with no samples inside. You can sample straight into a pad. Same thing that we did before. You can either go through here or you can go into the sampler. It's the same thing. That's just a shortcut. Same as the browser. That's just a shortcut. Go into the browser and look for samples. And if you want to put a sample right there, you just load it up. Okay. And that is it. Okay, so I want to try this out as well. I'm going to browse for a program. Let me go here into my crops. And I'm just going to load this program again. Oh, let me just load a different one. Let's go here. Load that. So I'm loading a program. That program is now track number 1. The program is track number 1. Okay. If I replace this with another program, these samples will be deleted. So if I go to my browser and I go to a different program that I have, load this one up, load it. So let's actually put this into mono. If you want all these samples that you're hearing, this is available on my mpcheadz.com website. This is the 2018 crop, okay? So let's go here into the program and have a look. So that's the name of these samples. That's Soft Machine. If I go into the menu right now, project, we can see that all the samples are from the program that I just loaded up. From this program right there, okay? That's it. All the other samples that were here before got deleted, okay? Because we essentially, when we go to the browser and we load a new program to this track, it will replace the program that's in there. Now, if you don't want to replace the program that's in there, you just want to load new samples, of course you can do load to new track and it will load to a new track. But it's also important to note this. If I delete this track, so if I go here and do this, delete the track, delete, it will delete the track, but it will not delete the program. So if I go into the menu, project, my samples are still here. Okay, but they now don't have a home, or let's say they don't have a program. Okay, this is something that AKAI might change. It might not change, but the samples are still here effectively, right? And if we create a new track, drum program, it will be clean. You can still go into the program and bring those samples here. There you go, they're right there. And of course, you can create new tracks as well. Let's create a new track, new drum program. The program is empty. If I go into my program, I can still pick samples from previous or other programs because all the samples will still be available within the project. So you can create programs and bring samples from other programs into this new one. That's still something that you can do, obviously. I mean, I think I've touched on several things. Maybe this will clear some of your doubts. Everything is pretty much the same. The workflow is very, very similar. The thing right now is that you cannot create programs from this window. Of course, you can still load programs. You can still save programs. Saving programs on here, it's not the same name, but it's the same thing. You can go into the menu, and you can go hit save, and then you save the track. The track is essentially the program. File name, drum 2. There you go. That's exactly the same thing. You can still share programs. Everything works the same. Just that difference right there when we had the program down here, that's gone. The program and the track are now one. Okay? That is it. Hopefully I've cleared some doubts. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, comment on the video. I'll be doing a lot more of these MPC3 videos in the future. Okay? Tell me what you want to see from MPC3 as well. Have a great day. Thank you.